Good night, my friends. Today, I had the opportunity to attend another event at the University of Southern California. The Bedrosian Center of Governance put together a workshop, a pipe workshop, with election scientist Michael Alvarez from Caltech. Mr. Alvarez has been a professor and a research scientist, election scientist for the last 25 years, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. He drove us today to a new topic that I wasn't aware of. He spoke about RVR, residual vote rate. And then he gave us, he told us what it is, why it could happen, and the consequences of a high residual vote rate in the nation and in the politics. Residual vote rate is the rate, the percentage of votes that are not able to be counted in favor of any of the candidates because it has too much or too little information. This is called overvote or undervote. Overvote, when I have many options selected and I cannot select that many options, or undervote when I don't select enough information. For example, if I don't select any candidate and I cast the vote. In both cases, these votes are not able to be counted in favor of any of the candidates, and they are called the residual votes. This residual vote rate has been reducing in time. Since 1980 to 2016, it came from rates of over 2.5% to rates of 1% in 2012. And this is only applicable in the data he showed us for presidential elections. So what is the effect of the residual vote rate? This is because at some point this difference in votes can be determinant for the result of an election, and it could create a crisis. This happened in year 2000 when in Florida the elections between Al Gore and George W. Bush were decided by 357 votes, and there were certain counties where the technology or the machines used were obsolete, and they created lack of reliability in the results. This created great controversy and crisis within the states and then nationwide, because the result of Florida for either side decided who was the next president. At the end, the Supreme Court had to rule, and they decided to stop all recounts and declare Mr. George W. Bush the president, despite the fact that the popular vote was higher for Mr. Al Gore. So at this point of the crisis, the president of Caltech and the president of MIT spoke and said, this cannot happen again. So let's put our teams together, our election scientists, and let's find solutions for this crisis that the United States cannot repeat ever. It's a shame in front of the world and in the international community to have the strongest democracy affected by technology flaws that could affect the elections and the political destiny of the country. So they started improving. The machines that were used were replaced, the technology was improved, and today we have a totally different system, And that was reflected in the residual vote rate. It came down to 1%, and it was steady for many elections at the 1% rate. However, something happened. In 2016, with no apparent reason known, it came back to 2%. It rose dramatically. If you see the graphic he showed us, it's a line that goes like this and suddenly it goes up again. So there, Michael Alvarez is doing a paper in research about the reasons that drove this RVR rate to go up again. And he discovered some very interesting factors. There could be several reasons for RVR. One of them is the mistake, the human mistake, when the people casting the vote makes a mistake, they don't mark or they mark too many options, and this vote is considered a residual vote. However, if you go physically, you have several chances, up to 3 chances, to correct your vote, so the RVR rate is reduced when the person goes physically. In the case the person casted votes via mail or via internet, this is a problem because they have no option of correcting. If they undervote or overvote, that's it. The vote is like that, and that's why in this areas, especially in the west coast of the United States, the residual vote rate is higher. And this is something that the electoral authorities are not trying to correct, because they are glad with the mail system of voting, because this reduces the cost and the burden of work of their employees, because they don't have to open as many polls for the people to come and vote. So this is one of the elements. And the other element is the protest vote. In the United States, there are not possibilities for unsatisfied voters to go to the polls and demonstrate they are not happy with the candidates. The only state is Nevada that they have the option that says none of the above, so they can mark it. But at the end of the day, even if the none of the above option wins, this will not affect the result of the election, and the second candidate with most votes will be then elected. So it's not an effective way of responding to the insatisfaction of the voters. So many times voters that are not satisfied, but they will go to cast their vote, they will undervote or overvote intentionally to demonstrate they are not happy. So they took all the data, they are doing the analysis. This is a work in progress, it's not a final paper. And they discovered that there was not a particular party in 2016 where the people were dissatisfied, not a particular party. There was dissatisfaction, but not on one of the sides. And there was a high raise in the mail vote in the West Coast. So there are two reasons that made this residual vote rate go higher: the insatisfaction of the voters and the mailing vote. And the insatisfaction of the voters has a very specific reason. It was in both parties, not only in Republicans or not only in Democrats. Many Republicans were not happy with Donald Trump, so they went and they intentionally undervoted or overvoted because they didn't like the candidate. And many Democrats did the same thing because they were not happy with Hillary Clinton. They would prefer Bernie Sanders to be the candidate. So this is the reason that we had this huge surge. For the first time, people were not happy with the candidates, and they showed it in the polls, and also the great surge that we had in the mailed and internet vote in the West Coast especially. So this is the explanation. That is a very reasonable reason, and I think that the final conclusion will be that. However, I want to take this conclusion and apply it to the situation of my country, Colombia, today. Colombia is facing an election where there is a great opposition to the government, and there are some left candidates that have been growing in their popular acceptance. However, the candidates in the opposition are not unified, and many people are not happy with some of the options. So there is a risk that at the end of the day, when the election comes between this communist and the opposition leader, the abstention and the residual vote, the blank vote, will be greater in the opposition, and that will give a big chance to the communists to come to power. We want to avoid that. We don't want the communists in the president of Colombia, because once they get there, they'll never go away. We saw it in Nicaragua, in Venezuela, in Ecuador, in Bolivia, and wherever they have been elected. So I want to send a message to my friends in Colombia. Be careful with abstention. You have to participate. You have to make the option to support the candidate in the opposition, because if not, we're going to have the guerrillas and the communists in power. I learned something today that was very useful for my personal life, for my understanding of the society where I live in the United States, but that it's also a lesson applicable to my home country that is now in a very difficult situation, and that it's facing a very, very critical and decisive electoral and political year. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will continue to post information when I attend some of these events, and I will continue doing it. I am always checking to see what new events are coming up. Please, the last thing, if you like the video, if you're interested in this type of content, once you end the video or during the playing of the video, press subscribe in YouTube. And along with subscribe, press the little bell by the red button, so you will get notifications and you will know when there is new content. With information like this, also some gastronomic videos I post, and also sports. I'm very glad to be with you again. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much, and enjoy this week.